Welcome back to the Air Crown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice little Saturday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. I wanted to talk today about 4 different crypto assets that I think are showing relative strength in this market right now, especially while the majority of the market is correcting heavily in a very nasty manner. So we'll forgo any sort of Bitcoin analysis here, although I'll just quickly point out the open interest until this really comes down to about 10, 11 billion. Really not looking for like major lows on the market just yet in its whole. What I would say though is that if and when Bitcoin does get at minimum its next major bounce and preferably its next major reversal, that's at the point where I'd expect these crypto assets to not just continue doing what they're doing, but continue to do what they're doing in a more violent fashion, which is probably going to be, equivalent to more upside long term. So with that in mind, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's just jump into it right here. And I want to start off with Fantom, symbol FTM versus the dollar. Now this one's been not just putting in some pretty constructive rallies, but pretty much testing around its all-time highs, throughout this whole corrective phase for Bitcoin, which is incredible. So I am just looking for this one to play kind of alongside Bitcoin, but ultimately whenever Bitcoin comes down, I'm just looking for higher lows on this one, as you can kind of judge from these 2 blue boxes right here. So right now it is in a little bit more of an aggressive posturing. Lower term time frames actually showing very likely another try to the upside from where we're at right now, as we do print in or potentially print in some hidden bullish evidence on the 4 hour, which will be confirmed with any sort of a closure, especially above about 275 or so, with implied targets back up towards $3. But here's the thing, when we're talking about these ones as more long-term assets, I want to be over here on the daily and in higher term timeframes especially, of which I do still think that we could very easily see another pullback somewhere around about 240, let's say, and if things get really crazy, perhaps somewhere right around about $2 even or so. Those are the 2 areas that I'd be looking for on a higher low pullback, implying more long-term continuation. The continuation conditions in this case to pro-optimize and new optimize are still very much the same. Any sort of a closure above your current high structure at about 320 would be good enough for me, with implying targets back up towards about $5 plus, actually somewhere around the 1.618 Fibonacci extension right here would be where I'm kind of looking for before the next sort of major correction. Until then, this one is like I said, showing relative strength. So any sort of Bitcoin bounces, or especially if Bitcoin gets a reversal, which is not happening anytime soon, but if it were to, then I'd be looking for Fantom to really be one of the big beneficiaries of that. By the same token, I would only invalidate long-term bullishness on this one if this one did come back down and close below your last higher low, which is $2 even. Below there, I would look for corrections again back down to about $1.50, and then we get to play the game of, is this over or not? But for right now, still among some of the more stronger ones within this market. 5-day chart looks absolutely beautiful, as we do have yet another drive of hidden bullish difference between this point and this point, and it's already testing around the all-time highs, and we do see that it's coming on very, very low volatility. So when we see something like that, we can kind of measure it up and get an idea of the severity of this next potential move, assuming that we do get the validation above the current 230, or sorry, not 230, but 328 region. That would be, of course, similar to this move over here coming off the 55, which we did see about a 700% move to the upside over 40 days, which even extended towards 1400% over the next 85 days. I'm certainly not saying that that's going to be the exact same move right there, but not bad. We had another iteration right here coming off this low to next high, about 336% over the course of 25 days. And then we had this iteration over here coming off the lows for that first move up, about 1,000%, only 1,000% over 40 days, extended up towards 5,100 over 55 days. Probably not going to be exactly the same as that, obviously, and volatility is direction neutral, but in this case, I'm going to let the trend be my friend with just short-term pullbacks in between there. And just to see, out of curiosity, where would we be looking at if we were to kind of play around with those same numbers here? So up to that $5.50 to $6 target, actually, or sorry, more like $5 to $5.50 target. That'd actually be a 400% move from the current lows, which would be comparable to the more recent iterations of that. If things really get crazy, and we're talking months down the road now, very, very long term down the road, it could be relevant to be looking at $12 to $15. If and when, specifically speaking here, if and when you do see higher term time frame closures above about 580, and then maybe more long term, months down the road, I would be looking at the shallow teens essentially for those targeted regions. Momentum also turning up at the same time from a very low level on the 5-day, as is the weekly on Fantom. Fantom's actually just going to see the weekly stochastic momentum turn up with any sort of a closure Sunday above $2.10 or so, which would look pretty damn good. So again, I do look at this one as macro quite strong. Let's move on to the next one now. This is going to be symbol 1, Harmony, actually, which is, again, among some of the strongest ones that we've seen. Very similar chart to Fantom, basically testing around its all-time highs, putting another higher low right here, right around the 55. This is all happening on about, it's almost like a fractal of the same volatility reads over here on the 5-day. And we even have hidden bullish evidence of 2 drafts variety starting to build up there as well, alongside the 5-day jewel starting to turn up here as well, which is pretty damn good. So I like all of what's going on this one. If we go down into the daily, I think this one literally just set in another higher low, pretty much right around its all-time highs already. So is good. But if we were to see this area fail, that being the 27 cent region, I would be looking for one more move down to the 0.5 at about 23 cents. And that's where I'd be anticipating the next higher low. Until then, anything above 23 cents is long-term bullish and quite good on this one. We even had like several shoulders, like 2 left shoulders and 2 right shoulders on this inverted head and shoulders reversal pattern here as well. So again, just kind of wrapping this one up, I'm basically bullish on it as long as you're above 23 cents in this case. Daily momentum is looking more or less good, with daily RSI getting fully back into the bullish control zone after that first kickback, which is fine. You do expect that. And we do see that this one is very close to an upside resolution here with any sort of a daily closure above 33. Let's just call it 33.70, make it nice and simple, at which point I would be looking for another retest of your prior wick all-time highs at 40 cents, and then very likely a move up towards your 1.618 Fibonacci extension. Same sort of knowledge, or same sort of logic applies here as we did on the Fantom asset, or whatever the fuck I don't know what the hell it is, but more long-term on a validation above about $0.50 on a higher term time frame. I would start to look, and again, months down the road, if that, assuming we even get validation, would be targets up towards $1 or so. I imagine momentum's probably shifting in a similar way over here as we saw on Fantom. So just want to double check, and yes, indeed it is. Weekly Stokes freshly turning up, rejecting, getting below like the neutral zone in 5 days already there as well. So pretty damn strong price action. Just want to see that next validation, but overall quite powerful right there. The next one I'd want to check out is symbol ATOM versus the dollar. See what we got right here. Again, another very similar chart to the other ones. This one's already grinding up against its all-time highs, so I just want to see a daily closure above about 44.85 would do it for me. Next short-term target relative to a daily would be $50 or so, and then more long-term I'd be looking somewhere around about 65 to 66 before the next sort of major consolidation. Until then, short-term, are we looking at a pullback? Probably yes, somewhere around just below $37 is completely fair game. And if that area does fail as your next higher low, and what I actually personally think is going to happen is you probably do get a move down somewhere around about $33.50 to $34. That's where I'd really be looking for the next like major higher low before giving a full-on try towards new all-time highs in this case. But overall, again, another very, very strong chart right here. I just imagine that you probably have one more pullback, especially if Bitcoin gets one more move to the downside. You're very likely going to see this one do the same thing as well. But all higher term time frames bullish. Again, weekly volatility very low here, comparable to the last major macro rallies we've seen. On this one, the most recent one was coming out of this low right here before going from, well, before doing about a 240% move over the course of 56 days right there. And we do see hidden bullish evidence right here already confirmed on the weekly. So I'm just looking for this one to grind up against its highs a few more times, maybe give one more quick spike to the downside for a higher low. But as long as this one does not hit invalidation, which invalidation would very obviously be below $32 even on a daily closure, I'm looking for this one to just trade sideways and up with higher lows implied along the way. And I imagine we're probably seeing something relatively similar over here as well. Let me just double check. Yeah, 5-day Stokes, nice and vertical. Weekly is also fresh crossing up and erect AF. Nice, lovely. All right, let's end on this one here. We're almost 10 minutes into this video. Holy shit, that was fast. That was real fucking fast. We'll do this one for Near Protocol, symbol NEAR, another one that we've been following for a while now, and it's been taking its time consolidating at the highs right here, but this one's actually already at all-time highs. Very, very impressive chart. One of the ones that was continuously putting in some pretty strong rallies, even alongside Bitcoin, dumping off, multiple percents, obviously. But in this case, what do you have going on right here? If you're bullish, you're looking at this as an ascending triangle, and that does imply that you do not want to see $13.50 broken on a daily daily. If you do see that, I am looking for a move down somewhere around $11.90 to $12 even before the next bounce. Then I want to come back to it after that before I judge it yet again. Until then, all higher term timeframes here, still looking good to me. Weekly, 5-day, all rather strong and staunch, as are momentum oscillators with 5-day RSI back in the bullish control zone. Now we do have bearish divergence building up here, so this one is kind of like a ticking time bomb. It doesn't need to do anything, but you would assume if this is going to hold to fruition that continuation would happen in the next 5 to 10 days at minimum, at maximum. So if it does take any longer than 10 days to reach towards significant new all-time highs, I would be calling this one as a lot more likely to pull back and at minimum test like just below $12. And if things do start to break below $12 on a daily closure, that's at the point where I'd invalidate long-term bullishness and just go back to the drawing board with this one. But for right now, you're seeing a very low volatility consolidation at the highs with daily BBWP coming down to single digits. And we do see daily RSI would have theoretically potential hidden bullish divergence as long as, again, you don't break below your current short-term area at 1350 or 1360. And what would be your validation of continuation and targets in mind? Well, you do have an ascending triangle formation going on right here. 1660 would be the breakout point on a daily closure or a 12-hour. Implied target short-term would be just shy of $20. And long-term, where are we looking towards? Long term, I would be looking towards 27 to $30, somewhere around here for the next major consolidation. I imagine we're probably looking at something relatively similar on this as well. I just want to double check. Let's see. Yeah, same thing over here. Weekly Stokes, nice and vertical, and actually rejecting getting out of the bullish control zone, which is good. And 5-day, same thing as well, actually. So quite strong right there. I suspect that you just see this consolidation go on a little bit longer, and whether this one gets another test down to $12 or not, I don't have a strong opinion on. My strong opinion is on the longer term time frames here, obviously, with those targets in mind. Below $12 though, that's where problems are, and well, yeah, like I said, that would be full invalidation, and I have to go back to the drawing board after that. But just another one that's kind of showing strength amid general weakness in the broad market. So I thought that these ones were worth calling out here. I hope that this was in some way helpful. I'm curious if people are even interested in this sort of content to begin with. I just thought that this was rather interesting right here, just for my own knowledge. And for full disclosure, I actually own none of the. Actually do own none of these. Not because I don't think that they're good, just I don't really care to own most alts. I think I've what was the one that I have? Yeah, I do have something, but it's not any one of these actually. So I can't say this with an unbiased tone. But anyways, yeah, cool. I'm gonna be signing off right there. I'm gonna probably put some massively clickbait title in this video. Apologies on that in advance. But hey, man, there you fucking go. Enjoy, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.